Hello, everyone. So, back on the topic about shadow work, I wanted to talk really briefly about collective shadow work. So, I mentioned before that about generational shadow work, about working your family line and the shadow that doesn't just belong to you but belongs to those who came before you as well. But collective, when I say collective, I'm referring to community. In other words, what I'm getting at, let me be direct. White people have some shadow work to do. Colonizers as a whole, I can't just say white people because white people aren't the only people who participated in colonization. You also have, well, white is kind of an umbrella a blanket topic over a group of several people. You got the English, you got the French, you got the Portuguese, you got the Spanish, you got who else participated? Did I say French? And Belgium, and I'm not sure what other countries, but whatever, all of them. If you're descendants of these people, you got some shadow work to do. If you've been benefiting from white privilege, you have collective, that's the word, collective shadow work to do. You're not exempt. And the reason I say it's a shadow that needs to be dealt with is because you hurt people, you harm people, you murder people, you took away people's practice, their spiritual practices, their languages, their natural way of being in order to implement your way of being. And it doesn't come without a cost. It's a collective shadow. In other words, when people are, super angry about, what's the word for it? When people are super angry about white privilege, like saying that they don't have privilege and that we all have the same opportunities and stuff in this country, like they're just kind of in denial that anything bad is happening to any particular people of color. And, they just act like they don't want to say it. See it, these are people who are not spiritually evolved. And if, you call yourself being conscious and being spiritual and all that kind of stuff and you still avoid it, something's wrong. Because it's not your actions, but the fact that it's your ancestor actions makes you responsible for it. And likewise, I'm responsible for my ancestors' actions and whatever things that they may have done. And we're not exempt either. If you want to really get into it, slavery wasn't just a black and white thing. It really wasn't. And don't let me leave out Arabs as well in this thing, and other Africans. So when I say it's collective, people need to take responsibility for what was done and deal with those shadows and dig into how they're benefiting from what their ancestors did and how they can recompense, how you can reconcile. It's not easy work to do. I feel like it's not easy work to do because, unfortunately, a lot of people who are on the privileged side, they want to tell everybody else how to feel about what was done to them. And they want to act, not to mention, they want to act like as if it wasn't done to them. Like, oh, well, this was 300 and 400 years ago. You weren't alive. Bitch, yes, I was. Like, that pisses me off. I was alive. If it's done to my ancestors, it's done to me. Everything, that's scientifically proven that your DNA holds memory. And so, yes, it was done to me. And then I got to go back and fix, and come to terms with things that may not have been come to terms with by those who came before me. But as a community, we have a lot, Black people, Black Americans, as a community, we have a lot of shadow work to do just based on how, let me put it this way, not colonization, but more so systemic racism. And when I say that, I'm referring to colorism, I'm referring to classism, I'm referring to, how do I want to explain it? It's like, okay, we collectively know that we're at the bottom, right? But instead of us stand together, we've been victimized with drugs in our communities. We've been victimized with hypersexuality, with violence, with crime through movies. You're being programmed to act a certain way, be a certain way, emulate a certain celebrity and things like that. Like TV was probably one of the worst things that happened to us, because when they began to put us on the screen, we're never in good light. And if you continuously see people who look like you never in a good light, guess what you become? Guess what you start to think is normal? And so our communities have been weakened and taken apart by TV programming, by the media, because we continue. I can't tell you how many times that, every time there's one of these mass shootings and stuff going on, or police brutality and shit going on, that somebody black will be like, well, they should have just listened, or they should have this, is that, and the other. Like as if there's no law that says, or there's no common sense here that says, well, I'm a policeman and my job is to protect and to, if someone's committing a crime, to arrest them and get them to the jailhouse where they will be, booked and hooked up for trial and things like that. None of that should, what gives anybody the right to take that right from somebody else and just kill them? Just end it right here. That's not how that works. Same way if you're a doctor, that's not how that works. It's not like, oh, well, I don't like black people, so I'm just going to let this person die. Not to say it doesn't happen, because it does happen, obviously. But it's like people don't even sympathize with their own people anymore. And it shouldn't, everything shouldn't be about race, but it's not the world that we live in. And since it is about race, you should stick with your people and support them, not just allow people to do whatever they want to do. We have too many people with that mentality that, oh, they should have listened, or they shouldn't have done this, or that person wasn't no good anyway. It doesn't give you the right to take somebody's life. A life is a life. No matter how you feel about it. It is what it is. Collective shadow work needs to be done for us to heal as a whole. And it's happening slowly but surely. As you look around 2020, people have been quite pissed about the quarantine, but I've seen a lot of healing taking place. I've seen a lot of people losing their shit because they can't deal with themselves because they have to be at home. And then I've seen a lot of people saying, well, actually, this is a good time to deal with my shit. And it's a beautiful thing. And, I want to encourage everyone who has been taking the time to heal their shit while they have time to right now, because the world that we will, literally blink away in a second, the world that we're going to open our eyes in the future is going to be quite different. And you need your whole self to be in this post-2020 world. Let me put it that way. You need your whole complete self, your whole complete mind, because we really live if you look around, we really live in a mass denial, a mass delusion, a mass, what's the word for it? Insanity. There's an insanity. I feel like everybody just then lost their screws, and screws just then popped out and they done rolled away, and ain't nobody even try to chase them. Certain things just don't even make sense on a humanistic level. And I guess it's designed that way, right? That's what we're being programmed, to lose our humanity. But for those of y'all that are not interested in using your humanity, you need to work through your human brain, work through your human issues, and get on this collective shadow work. Anyway, if you like this video, please like, please comment, please subscribe, and all that good stuff. Oh yeah, and share. Bye.